So I had a lot of people, not really complaining, but saying that they were getting a little tired of seeing my same Zek Eels list, or Zek Eels deck that I'm pretty much always playing. And so I thought, well, I don't have enough cards to make any of the other, like, really top-tier decks or anything like that, or really anything other really consistent. Like, I don't have a lot of Dawn fans, a lot of really anything to make anything else. So this is going to be a rough Durant deck. And I call it rough because there's still lots of things in here that I don't have, like lots of crushing hammers and probably, I think crushing hammer is probably the biggest one, maybe another catcher, lots of stuff. But this is a really interesting matchup because this is against Too Late 11, who's got over 1,000 wins, so you know he's a good player. And it looks like he is playing a what I call just disruption deck. So the way this deck works is it uses Slowking to look at the top 3 cards of your deck to rearrange them in any way that he likes. And by controlling what you draw into, that really affects how you play the game. Well, I'll kind of go into that more later. So he fills up his bench on his turn, Cleffa's for a new hand. I Collector for 3 Durant, which gives me the perfect start. I attach a metal, and I'm going to Devour for 4. So great start on my side. So now more into how his deck works. Slowking controls what I'm going to draw into. Weaville is going to knock out stuff from my hand. That Crushing Hammer is going to take off the energy, making, well, it impossible for me to attack. So there's his first Weaville, and he's going to take away that pawn. He's going to take away my draw support. It looks like he's just playing a Collector just to pretty much get some cards out of his deck, probably communicate them in for stuff. And looks like he's going to have a level ball for that Slowking to make sure that I don't draw in anything that helps me. Mime Jr. is also there for, yeah, this is essentially a disruption deck out deck, which actually reminds me a lot of a guy that goes to my league. I know I think actually wrote an article on 6 Prizes about it. So Mime Jr., once you get the Weaville Slowking lock up, what Mime Jr. does is essentially deck you out. It's pretty much, you know, you draw a card. If you're playing anything, you're going through more of your deck, and then you're also, you know, losing a card with Mime Jr. So there he takes away my Sky Arrow, which you'll find out later is a big deal. So I attach 1 for the turn, and I'm gonna Devour for 4. So basically, the only way for me to, well, the only thing that Durant does is, you know, attack or mill your deck. There's no point in me taking prizes. You know, I could take cheap prizes maybe off of Cleffa and Mime, but I still need the energy cost. And as you'll see throughout this game, his goal is to prevent me from getting energy onto my Pokemon, meaning that I cannot Devour. So it's really interesting how this deck works. So there is the second Weaville, and there goes my other Metal Energy. So now he's going to catch her up, Durant with no energy on it, and since my Sky Arrow has been tossed, there goes my free retreat. So he rearranges the top cards with Slowking and throws out a Metal Energy. And so this is where it kind of becomes one of probably the most boring games ever, because he's essentially leaving me with nothing to do, and all I can do is just sit here and watch and keep track of where the cards are going. So he Mime Jr.'s away another special metal, supporter twins, but he doesn't take prizes in this deck, so that doesn't help me whatsoever. There's nothing else I can do. I'm actually trying to make the game go by as fast as possible by just passing my turn, you know, knowing how his deck works, knowing that there's really nothing I can do about it unless I get really, really, really lucky and have 3 great cards at the top of my deck for him to, you know, where he has no choice but to give me something good. That's the only way that I can get out of this mess. And as you'll see throughout the game, that happens once for me, but it doesn't happen enough to be able to make a difference. Makes it a close game, kind of a close game, but not really. So, as you can see, he's even having, not that I have the energy to attack, but even having some pretty good luck with his tail flips, staying asleep. This is where, if I were playing a Zekil's deck, might be able to do a little bit more. Well, yeah, because a Smeargle portrait, I can, utilize some supporters in his hand, things like that. So, I certainly don't like playing Durant at all. Honestly, the only reason why I'm playing it is to give you guys some different matchups, because that's what you wanted to see. And Durant was really the only other top tier deck that I could come close to having the cards for online to build. I have quite a few battle vids up with my Magneil deck, and I have quite a few vids up with my Zekil's deck, and that's pretty much it. I don't think, I don't have, I think, enough Celebi to make Celebi Mewtwo, and I'm not sure if I have enough Tornadus. In the future, I'd love to do more battle vids with different types of decks. Certainly maybe once I have more time, maybe once my big booster opening is done with. But again, that's going to take a lot more codes, and I try and sell as many codes as I can, leaving myself enough to build the deck that I'm actually planning on, wanting to play in tournament, assuming it's a deck that I can play in tournament. Things like Shandy Plume, because Tropical Beach is not available online, that's something that I can't play. Well, pretty much anything with Tropical Beach I can't really practice with online. So if you notice, I haven't really been doing much commentary on the game. It's pretty easy to keep up with. He's still just Slowkinging the top 3 cards in my deck, and throwing out anything useful. That's pretty much what he's aiming for, is to prevent me getting any energy. So energy is going to be his top choice. Then he's going to make sure that, if there's no energy to choose from, he's going to take out. So there you go. You can see my catchers, because that could stall him for a little while to be able to mill a card off the deck, and then draw power. If I can get, even one Juniper off while that gets me closer to decking myself out, that would likely get me a lot more energy and recovery things that I need to actually get my deck moving. And because he's actually going through a lot of his deck as well, just to be able to keep this constant stream going, which is why it's so close. Yeah, so he's doing a pretty good job of being able to hit into at least one good thing to toss into the Lost Zone, and one useless thing to give to me. Eviolites, Collector, Lost Remover, all of that stuff, because he's not running energy, is not going to help me. So there you see another dual ball going into my hand, because he knows that that will do nothing for me whatsoever, and another energy into the Lost Zone. So I'm kind of just counting the cards in his hand, counting the cards in my hand, but because I have no way to shuffle my cards back in, he really does have the advantage. Just with Cleffa on his bench, he can always eke and get, more, any cards over than 6 back into his hand. So, yeah, there's really not too much else to say. I can kind of keep on going about, playing different decks in the future. What I might do, later on, is if I have the time, and maybe even get donations of code cards or something like that, so I can continue to sell mine and kind of keep having money come in to be able to do openings and stuff like that. Oh, so let me stop right there. I finally hit a lucky spot where he has 3 good cards, and he has no choice but to give me 1 good card. So I am able to get 1 special medal on there for 1 good Devour, which gets him down to 9 cards in the deck versus my 13. However, he just has a catcher to go ahead and pull up another one of my Durant. So unless I get really, really lucky like that again, there's really not much I can do. Crushing Hammer doesn't help me because he doesn't have any energy attached. He doesn't need it. And yeah. So what I was saying, in the future, if I have more time, I would love to be able to actually build the decks online that people submit in, play a few games with them, show how they work before I kind of review them, and then edit them up a bit as far as, what I would do to them, and then go at it and then play a few games again. It's just an idea I had to kind of help people out, but again, that's going to take a lot of time and a lot of code cards to be able to build that many decks. So we'll see if I can make it happen in the future, and it's just an idea I have for something to keep the channel going after my big booster opening. So as you can see, he's down to 7 cards in his deck. I'm down to 9, but he's he's got that Cleffa to eke to put those cards back into his hand. So he's really not having to worry about anything right now. I'm playing it out just to see if I do get lucky and happen to, draw into another, he Slowkings into another 3 cards that are useful. But it doesn't seem like that's happening. I've got a lovely hand of Collector, Twins, Lost Remover, Dual Ball, Eviolite, Junk Arm, Crushing Hammer. And the only thing in my discard pile is the 1 Pokemon Collector that I played, the 1 Pont that he threw out with Sneasel, a Metal Energy that he tossed away with Crushing Hammer, and a Metal Energy that he tossed away with Weaville. I think I said Sneasel earlier, but I meant to say Weaville. So there goes my Super Rod to build my deck back up to, my only chance of maybe him decking himself out before he decks me out. But that's not looking good. I actually run 2 Super Rods in this deck because I didn't have all the cards to make an appropriate Durant deck, so I just kind of was throwing in other things that would help. Typically I would only run 1 Super Rod, maybe a Flower Shop if I thought I was going to go up against something trainer locky. But yeah, so it's kind of, like I said, an interesting variation, or not even really variation. So it's more just like a very, very rough Durant deck. I've got like 90% of the games. So he makes a comment in the game room about decking out Durant, which it's pretty funny to me too. And then I don't realize that it's actually my turn. So double check my cards, make sure I didn't pull anything useful, and end my turn. He's still asleep, which does slightly help, I guess. If he could stay asleep for the rest of the game, then I would win, I think, based on the cards. But now we run into a glitch. It's actually not letting me draw any more cards, and I actually don't think I notice it on that turn. So here he goes. This is how he stays alive in the game, is he uses Cleffa to eke and draw into a new hand, which means his deck goes up significantly. I should probably be checking his deck soon. So here's where I notice that I should be drawing cards and be losing, but I'm not. I could be really, really mean and just sit there and hope that the same glitch isn't on his side either. But that's just not sportsmanlike. He won the game, and despite the glitch, there is a concede button that you'll see right here. Just go to the bottom and click concede. So that gives him the win. Don't really know if that does anything token wise. I don't know really what they're useful for, but yeah, gives him the game. And like I said, he's got a very, very interesting deck. Really, it's just something you don't see every day. If he hadn't had such a fast startup, I might have, honestly, if I could have gotten off 1 or 2 more Devours, I probably would have had it if he hadn't had such a fast startup. But you just never know in games like this, and I thought it was just something a little interesting that's not the mainstream meta, and so it's kind of cool to show off. So props to him for trying something different and doing well with it. So hope you guys enjoyed something a little bit different, and like I said, if I have the cards to make something else other than Durant or the decks that you've been seeing me play already, Magniels and Zekiels, then I will. Otherwise, I really don't like Durant, so there's probably not many more games that I can stand playing it. So you're probably just going to go back to seeing the good old Zekiels list. But anyways, hope you enjoyed something else a little bit different, and I'll have plenty more battle vids coming up soon.